All right, what's going on? It's Bobby Skinner, Giants Nation show, and this is the Jaxson Dart debut film breakdown. So we're going to go through over 20 of his most important plays, good and bad in this, and what he did and what he showed in his first game as a New York Giant against a top defense in the Los Angeles Chargers. So again, make sure to like and subscribe. We do weekly film videos, whether it's offensive line, defensive line, or your occasional Jaxson Dart individual video. So like and subscribe, your number one spot for all New York Giants football. So Dart did some good things in the passing game. The Chargers, I thought, game planned well for what the Giants were going at, and then Jaxson Dart, like the legs made plays for him, and as you're seeing him rush in for his first NFL touchdown, like when it wasn't there, he used his legs. There's some sacks that were taken that we'll go through, but overall, just look composed in his first real NFL action. So let's get into it. Again, please like and subscribe. Just do it. So first play, they ran this concept a lot. It's post wheel, post up the top wheel, and then the underneath. He ends up scrambling. So let's break this down. So ball snapped. We have the outside receiver on a post, tight end on a wheel, and then Wandale underneath. The Chargers are in cover 3. So we've got deep post, deep third, and then you've got underneath. But what the Chargers do well is that they flood the zones, right? Like you have 3 here, they're going to bring 4. Right? So you have 3 and they have, 1 deep, 2, 3, 4 players here. None of this is open at the moment. Even though if Dart wanted to hang in here and had the right pocket, he could step up and find Theo Johnson here. But when they flood that zone, specifically with this linebacker working with the motion, and then you take this linebacker and he follows the back on a 5-man rush, well, that leaves all of this area wide open. I don't know why I'm putting numbers there. All of this area wide open. And Dart recognizes that quickly. Like they've totally vacated the middle of the field. Play action. He sees the guard picking up the defensive end. He could, again, in a perfect world, he could, step up and throw this right here. But they've got the middle of the field. Take off. Like that ends up being easy money. I mean, that's a lane that you're going to take 10 times out of 10. Henley is following the back. Good stuff. Next play, we're going to get out of empty. We're going to run another post wheel concept. And this time the Chargers end up in a cover 6 defense. So let's go through the concept again. You're going to have Devin Singletary on the post. Wheel, little out route here. And then on the back side of this concept, you have an inverted wrap concept where you're going to have Slayton on the choice here. He ends up sitting. And then Malik Neighbors on the dig here. And the Chargers end up in cover 6. So you've got your shallow defender here, curl hook, deep half by this safety, and then deep quarters. This player ends up matching this in man coverage. And then what the Chargers do to make this different, we're going to drop back our 2 defensive tackles here and take the underneath. So now we've dropped 9 into coverage, and then you have this on Wandale. So to remove the lines here for a second, none of this on the front side is here for Jaxson Dart. The post is basically covered by 2 people. We got the wheel man coverage, and then Wandale underneath. So Dart doesn't even look front side of this. He sees the numbers game and realizes I have an advantage on the back side of this. This safety's playing at width, so it means we're likely in a cover 2. So that's going to leave this middle of the field open. But again, this is where the Chargers dropping these defensive tackles back makes this a harder window. And you see what Dart does is steps up into that pocket, forces those defensive tackles to do something besides take up and close windows. And he knows he has Dart. So just step up and then watch how it pulls these 2 defensive tackles in. Step up, and now you've got yourself a window to hit Malik Neighbors. You'd like to put that ball a little in front of him, but a good play. And then you get the draw touchdown. I mean, also great job by Cam Scatterbo on this one. He's the one who makes this play. Again, that's another thing with the Chargers. They flood the zone. So I didn't have the other view of this, but see how they just vacate the middle of the field, and the Chargers got better about that. But you've got your offensive lineman allowing these guys upfield. Smith attacks that inside shoulder. Scatterbo takes the back. I mean, and then we just got clear space. Middle of the field totally vacated. Touchdown Giants. And it's good, hurry up offense first drive. And it's a good job by Brian Dable on this and Mike Kafka to realize what the Chargers do. And they're like, all right, if they are going to just totally take away our zone beating concepts, then we're gonna attack the field that they leave vacated to do that. Next drive, so they get backed up on their own goal line, and then they get third down. And this might be the most impressive play for Jaxson Dart as he directs traffic and gets Darius Slayton to come back to the ball for a third down conversion. Or at least most impressive passing play. So again, this is third down, backed up at your goal line. You just don't want a disaster play here. And the Chargers are looking like they're going to send some type of pressure. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the line. So the Giants, they keep their tight end and their running back in. They've got 7 men in versus 6. And it just looks like they're going to send pressure. So just in case they did send an all-out pressure, you're going to have Wan'Dale Robinson on the slant. And then you got Darius Slayton on the vertical, and then you got Malik Neighbors on the vertical down at the bottom with your back and your tight end keeping in protection. But the Chargers, this is where they're good. They want to show you one thing and then back out of it. The Chargers back this out, right? Back Henley out. There goes the slant. So with that back out, though, means that they're only sending 4, right? So your in-breaker hot reads are gone. They've only sent 4, though, so which means you should have 7 blocking 4, which gives Dart the ability to step up. And you'll see it from the other angle. Like, I don't know exactly if Darius Slayton sees this or if he's just turning this into, a curl route against the coverage he has. But Dart does a good job, like, recognizing what this is quickly. Like they rotate in the man coverage. The safety rolls to Neighbors' side. The slant's not going to be here because of Henley dropping back. We've got this. Use your legs. Allow your legs to extend. Direct traffic. Come back to me. Come back to me. Bam. First down. Next play. Takes this shot to Slayton on Y cross. First, cover one robber. And throw, route, whatever. Oh, hold on. What happened there? So just the concept here is we've got the vertical outside release by Slayton, this whip route by Wan'Dale, and then the tight end on the over. They get that versus man coverage, and I do want to critique this a little bit. This is not a bad decision by this, because you see the way the Chargers play this in man coverage is you get Derwin James in man coverage on Daniel Bellinger, and this safety rotates down. This safety rotates middle of the field. You've got that one-on-one with Darius Slayton, so I don't blame him at all for this. Ideally, this is what you want to get to on this play, but the Chargers cover it well. But I would like, and this is like rookie stuff, a vet quarterback sees that this Derwin is taking this in man coverage, and you have this linebacker is not immediately chasing the running back in man coverage. You've got this running back over here. Like he's going to have an advantage. But I don't hate taking that matchup with Slayton. Throw's not perfect. Slayton didn't have a great win there either. Just not able to convert on it. I don't hate the decision. There could have been a more perfect decision, but that's certainly a good decision by Dart. And then here he takes the sack on a sail concept. This is 3rd and long versus cover 3. This is one where it's just like you got to see it and rip it. And ends up taking the sack on this. So the Chargers, they start in a 2-high safety. You have the stacked alignment here. You're going to have Wandale on the sail. Neighbors is also going to press vertically and break this out. And then you've got the tight end here in the flat. Pretty good lines there by me. So they play deep cover 3. So you've got this player playing the deep middle. This player is playing the flat, carrying the tight end. And then you have the corner. This outside corner has a deep third coverage. Let me get rid of these lines. They're all in the way. This corner right here has the deep outside coverage, but he doesn't, like, you know that this is a bread and butter Jaxson Dart play at Ole Miss. He wants to take away this corner route. He doesn't, if he covers Malik Neighbors deep on this, then Jaxson Dart is throwing this, and that is what Jaxson Dart is looking for. But this is where you learn from this, is you see the way this safety is playing from depth. And as soon as that corner, and this corner does a good job by not turning his hips with Wandale and playing this both ways. But this is the ball that you put out here, right? That's a high leverage throw. It's not an easy throw. It's not a high completion rate throw, but that's a high leverage throw right there. That when you see this corner, it's just not bailing and playing in the deep third of Neighbors. And this safety is playing 30 yards off, right? This safety's not really making this a tough decision. You got to pull this trigger. Ends up trying to escape, make a play. Takes a sack. Again, just got to rip that. Rip that. Or at least give Scattaboo, a chance to break a tackle or something. Next play is a reminder of how new some of these things are. You see they motion and get man coverage, and he takes a sack where nobody's blocking the guy, right? And you say, well, why didn't they block the guy? That's clearly not Jaxson Dart's fault. So let's talk about it. So let's first look at it from this motion identifier, right? The way that DB chases that means that we have man coverage across the board. So he's looking at it as like, all right, well, we got man here, man on Wandale, and then you've got one-on-one with Malik Neighbors. So that's where he's looking to get to. One-on-one with Malik Neighbors on the slant. And let's fast forward and see it from a protection mindset. So the Chargers have 6. Right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the Giants have only 5 offensive linemen up front. They're an empty. So the offensive line is setting it to what they view as the mic. So we're going here, 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 here. And then Illuminor, he's got 2. So he takes the innermost threat. And when 43 rushes, that's where Jermaine Illuminor is going to take. And this is hot, declared hot. And that means the quarterback is responsible for him. But the Chargers, again, do a good job of understanding where the Giants are probably setting their protection towards. And you see Henley rushes. So the Giants offensive line now is thinking, 1, we've got Runyon with eyes here, JMS. Right? That's where they're looking. But number 0, Henley, drops out. They also drop out number 90. And Dart takes the hit. And this is, takes the sack. And this is where Dart has to see. If you've got 5 versus 6, and you know it, you have to be throwing into the pressure. It's as simple as, if that's where the man is coming free, that's where your hot is going to be, and that's Daniel Bellinger. I understand what he was looking for. He got that man coverage look. He got excited. He sees Henley blitz, and he's thinking, all right, this is an opportunity to feed Neighbors on this, this little indie route. But you just got to see that hot. Next play. Let me fast forward through this. Next play. I really like this one. It doesn't seem like anything crazy, but it's just the Chargers throw a coverage rotation at him. This is not like his first read, and he gets a 3rd and 13 turned into a first down. So play call for this. This is what the Giants ran, spammed against the Cowboys, where you've got vertical. I'm bad at lines. Let me do that again. Vertical, vertical up the seam, vertical on the outside, and then you're going to have the tight end come and sit in the middle of the field. The Chargers, they spin out of this coverage, right? They take this nickel corner, the star defender, and put him back here. You take this defender towards the middle of the field, and then this safety sits right here, and then the corner's covering deep. And then you've got him working outside. And then let's watch it play out. All right, so, I mean, watch this player, right? They spin out of this, and Dart has his eyes on this safety. And I think he's wanting to possibly throw this ball to Wandale deep because he's, again, this is where his eyes are at. And this safety sits down here, and he's thinking he has that. But that corner plays with so much off leverage, or so much off and with inside leverage on Wandale here, that's just not where he wants to go. Dart steps up. With this safety not declaring on Bellinger, right? This safety not coming to cut this off, leaves Bellinger wide open in the middle of the field, and you take a 3rd and 13 first down. Again, this is not the most insane thing in the world. This is a very clean pocket for a 3rd down. I just like it. I think that's, some big boy football. Reading a player, getting through a progression, and finding your tight end for the first down. Next play. Here's that post wheel concept again. Right, they love this. They spam this. The Giants ran this a lot in early 2022, and this is Dart seeing one thing and feeling like that's his trigger. So you got the post here, you got the wheel, and then you're gonna have Wandale sit over here. So let's play it. And the Chargers rotate down into cover 3. And that's what you want to get post wheel against. So the Chargers, where they have this safety rotate down, this safety is playing that deep 3rd, and then this safety rotating towards the middle of the field. So watch how these two, this corner and this safety, are now taking the post. Right? The outside corner took the post. You have the middle of the field. So Dart is seeing, all right, this corner turned his hips and ran with that. I've got the wheel here. The issue is the Chargers are good at this, and they're in cover 3, but it's match. So instead of this player out here just playing his flats, right, he's going to take this into man coverage. So he's going to cover the flat and then take it up with him. But when he does that, that leaves this underneath. This ball should just go to Wandale, right? This should not be a great big play. Dart just gets over eager seeing this corner turn and cover the post. Just dump this down to Wandale, right? This one you saw on broadcast, you were surprised they didn't throw it, and it's a bad throw too. Maybe you put a dime on Theo Johnson's outside shoulder and we're feeling a little better about it, but it ends up being a bad throw. Next play, 3rd and 10. I really think this one is not that deep. I don't think he knew exactly. He didn't like what he saw, and he scrambled. So the Giants are going to run smash here. Let's go quickly through it. It's a high-low read versus what you're looking at. You're thinking you got some type of, cover 2 coverage maybe with the split safety. And then you've got Wandale on the dig and then Hyatt on the deep post. So he's thinking that. And they've got mugged up, right? So they've got these mugged up linebackers. So he's thinking they're going to back out into probably some type of cover 2. And he's got a high-low here. The issue is that they back out, and they still rush 5, but they back out one linebacker into cover 3. All right, so we've got deep 3rd here, post safety, deep 3rd. It's taking the flat here. You've got your middle field defender here, curl hook defender here. So Dart, the high-low's not there. It's as simple as that. The high-low is not here. So instead of Dart getting to the back side of this to Wandale, I think he just sees all right, well, they blitzed, they sent 5. The middle of the field is vacated. Let me turn this into a 3rd and 10 scramble for a first down. I think he quickly is just all right, what I wanted that was not there, I'm taking off. As simple as that. I don't think it's this great like manipulation of Derwin James. But again, Derwin James is playing to the basic route on the backside for Wandale, and you turn it into a first down. So you take a 3rd and 10, let his legs do the work on that one. Then we get in the red zone off of a defensive pass interference on Darius Slayton. And this is where it's just like sometimes you got to take the profit. And, this red zone, not every single play can be a touchdown. Instead, you set up 3rd and long, which instead of 2nd and short from, the first down marker being at the 1 yard line, but essentially goal to go. So Giants, again, are going to go back to the well on that post wheel, right? We got the post here, wheel. This post is a little deeper. Post here, wheel, and then Wandale's going to come across the formation into the flat. And you get kind of what you're looking for here, right? This ball should be out to Wandale Robinson right now. It's not a perfect play. I don't like this idea of cutting the field in half in the red zone. I wish there was just more some straight drop back passing, especially against a team like the Chargers, who we mentioned before. They're going to flood the zone, right? Like I'm not sitting here saying I love this play call, but you got to deal with what you have. Get this ball out to Wandale now. Live for it. And again, he gets this down to the 5, 4, and then you got 3rd and short. And again, I also would like Theo to not keep this as flat. We'd like to get this outside corner upfield, but just throw it. But looking to make a play. And hey, if he breaks that tackle, maybe there really is something there to be had. But this is 3rd down. Okay. 2nd down, toss that ball out to Wandale here. Just toss it. Just get it out there and live for the next down. Instead, you get 3rd and long, and you take a sack on this play. I was a little more critical on this one in game or not a sack, sorry, this incompletion. So Giants are going to run a trail concept here. So you're going to have this outside receiver work here, and then get this other receiver stacked behind him, and then break in. And you get it versus man coverage. We got man, 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 and then we're in 2-man, so we got, these two basically defending the goal line. What made this a little more complicated is the fact that they have these two linebackers, these two linebackers, QB spy underneath, and that does make it hard because this is where you're trying to get this against. Against man coverage, Slayton does a good job on this where you pull this corner who's in man coverage outside of this other corner and then break in. Would like to just cut and go here. A little too much slow playing. But this player right here makes that a harder window to get to. I still think Dart could hang in there for an extra, beat of a second and throw this ball instead of running or checking it down the Scattaboo. But do a bad job on the right side of this offensive line picking up a stunt. So again, I would like to, in a perfect world, we're hanging in here for half another beat and just firing this ball right here. But Greg Van Roten and Illuminor get a twist ran at them. Van Roten's not ready for it. Illuminor is like, oh, shit, I need the help here. And then you get free rushers running at you. And you just dirt the ball to Scattaboo. Next play, back on offense. This is a 3rd and 4. And we scramble for a first down. But you do see some hesitations here. This is man cover. You get this versus man coverage. And you're running just double slant. Very simple. Slant. You've got this corner who's in man playing off and outside leverage. You're essentially reading this player right here. You're reading this play. If he works with Theo, which he does, this ball should be out right here. This ball should be right here. And you see that's what Dart's looking to do, and he just doesn't trust it and pulls it. Again, it felt like when he got man coverage, he saw, with the lane, he saw that as an opportunity to run. So you get the first down, but again, and reality is this defensive lineman doesn't jump, which is a good job, like good smart defense. Like, hey, they're running double slant, quick game man coverage, jump in that window, and that may be part of Dart's thinking there. I just don't think that's exactly what Dart was looking at. But scramble and get a first down. You play the results. Next play is the 39-yard scramble that doesn't count, which kind of sucks because I kind of hate these defensive linemen that are getting blocked and they just reach to one side while they're being blocked and gets called for a hold. But this would have put him at almost 100 rushing yards at the day, which I think better indicates his rushing performance more so than 55 rushing yards, which can happen off of one big one. So let's, like, I know we're not breaking down the offensive line, but like JMS is doing a good job here. Two hands. I guess slide your feet over, but I mean, come on, a little weak. But let's go through what Dart saw and what led to him to scramble. So Giants are running Y cross. So you got the vertical up here, smoke here, and then the cross, and then the vertical here. This is actually a little deeper. So this is what he's looking for, right? It's a pure progression play, and you get this versus cover 4. So you got deep quarter, deep quarter, deep quarter, deep quarter, and then this corner, takes the flat with Wandale. So it is a pure progression play, looking to get to the tight end on the backside. And the vertical's obviously not there. This isn't here. And you'll see from the other end, Dart pumps here to try and move this linebacker to get to Theo Johnson. And they just did a good job. This middle backer just did a good job all game, just getting depth and running with this. Again, this is against cover 4. This could be a progression throw, progression anticipation throw right here. This is a very college concept, the NFL concept too. But he's able to, use his wheels and turn it into a 39-yard run. And I do want to talk about the stiff arm at the end. Like we see the pump fake. He's expecting to move this linebacker with that fake and get him working here. I think you can throw this ball to Bellinger here. This linebacker has not turned and rolled with the tight end and chasing with him. You have a clean pocket to step up and make that throw. But he takes a scramble, and again, I don't get fired up by this type of stuff anymore unless we're in playoffs, fourth quarter, fourth down type of stuff. There's no reason to throw a stiff arm like that with it. There's just no reason. There's no reason for that. And then next play is the push pass touchdown. They motion Scadaboo out, pulls out Derwin James, work like they're playing QB power, and Theo Johnson gets toppled into the end zone. So just a little play design. I know we're not going to be breaking down. This is more about breaking down Jaxson Dart, but motioning Scadaboo pulls this player out. And you have a down block. Let me clear. Combo to here with these two. Down block here. And then Runyon's going to pull and kick out. And this linebacker flows because he's following Dart, right? It's empty backfield. He's thinking he has the quarterback, and that leaves this all wide open here. And then Jaxson Dart's first touchdown pass of his career is left-handed. Make sure you remember that. So I'm going to bring that up on the 2041 Giants-Chargers preview podcast when Danny King is, old and giving us still trivia. Just remember that. Next play is an Ole Miss special. We saw this in the preseason. We actually saw the Broncos do this against the Chargers last week. It's that gun fake toss trying to get the ball to the tight end on the over. So we fake the toss to Scadaboo, and we're just trying to pull we're trying to pull these linebackers this way while getting the tight end open on the over. They ran this all the time at Ole Miss. Again, and we ran in the preseason. They scored a touchdown on it in preseason. The Chargers were clearly ready for this, and the Broncos ran it last week. The Chargers were clearly ready for this. You see, and this is a big part of Derwin James is the way he plays this as this star player. I don't mean star as in like level, but like the position star. And you see this linebacker just clearly sees Theo Johnson's working on the over. He uses that rollover back technique. He's there. But this is where Dart takes the sack. Look at all this space out here. You know, you've got all this space out here and one defender. Stress that defender. Make him make a decision. Because you're either getting this ball to Theo Johnson right here, or he's backing off and you get a nice run out of it. But I understand he's got a playmaking ability to him. But what are we looking back at this for? We're not looking to throw back here. I hope not, at least. I don't understand what we're looking to make out of this. Either throw the ball to Scadaboo or what, but just make it easier on yourself. Keep rolling. You either have Theo Johnson up the field or you get yourself a nice scramble. Again, you've got Theo Johnson working horizontally. You have this player right. Just keep going. I don't understand what we're going there. So, like, the sacks were largely his fault, but I did want to put this one on here because this one wasn't his fault. This is them running Y over once again. Y cross once again. I don't need to break down the concept a ton again. Like, we've went through it. We got the vertical here, speed out by Wandale, tight end over, and then Slayton on the vertical. I think he actually tries to get back to Slayton, which I think is the smart move here. And you get this verse cover 4. So we got a deep fourth defender here, deep quarter here, deep quarter here, deep quarter. And then we got these players out here. So let's roll the play and see how it's covered with all these lines. See how good I did with the lines. Pretty good, honestly. So you've got this. This is covered. Sometimes against this coverage, if Wandale had to pull this defender inside a little more, you could just throw the speed out to Wandale. And you'd like to see Wandale, once he does get here, throw a little shoulder fake. But Jaxson Dart can't get there. So now we get to the cross here with Theo. This linebacker is taking it. You're not throwing the vertical. I do like the idea of all right, let's try and get this ball back down here to Slayton. Maybe, and again, I think maybe he would have launched this, but offensive line screwed this up, and it's a not his fault sack. Just bad job by Illuminor on this one. We're picking up the stunt. You got to slide your feet, get over. We don't, and it stops us from at least taking a shot. I don't know if they would have got it, but at least taking the shot. But not throwing that ball away does make a difference because now you're facing 3rd and 14, and Dart on this play, which is one where it's pull the trigger on this. So let's go through it. So the Giants are once again running that. Those 3 verticals with the tight end sitting in the middle of the field. So, again, you got the vertical here, slot vertical. This one's going in here, sorry. And then you got the tight end sitting here in the middle of the field, 3rd and long. Right, they converted on the Bellinger one. Again, this is the play they spammed against the Cowboys, but they got the seams. And they get this against either cover 3 match or cover 1. Regardless, it ends up being essentially the same thing. So, again, where I say it ends up being essentially the same thing is where you have a deep post safety. You've got one-on-one on the outside with a vertical, another one-on-one. You got the nickel corner matching vertically, and then this middle field defender turns into man coverage. So that's what makes me think it's man coverage is this right here. So Dart, you're not throwing the slot the slot go. here, right? That's just not happening. You've got decent coverage and the safety over the top. This is not here. This vertical by Bo Collins gets turned into a deep curl, right? And that is not the design of the play. This is an option for the receiver, where if this receiver is being pressed up or is in man coverage, tighter man coverage, he's going to keep this vertical. But the way that this corner is playing with off of so much cushion, he's going to sit on this. But this relies timing, and this is where Dart's eyes should be. Right? Once we see we get man coverage on this, we got the safety over the top. This is where we should be looking for Jaxson Dart, and we just don't pull the trigger on this. Try and direct traffic and end up, scrambling for a few yards on 3rd and 14. Again, that's where his eyes are. And this pressure by Illuminor phases him a bit, but it shouldn't be enough to, again, that's a timing route. You should have fired that in there. And the Giants end up punting from their 38 because of their kicker situation. I told you guys before, I'm not getting fired up by Jaxson Dart, like breaking tackles and putting his shoulder down until this. This is 3rd and 1, trying to put the game away. Don't love this play call. You know that you got Derwin James screaming off the edge, so you have Scadaboo block that. We're 1, 1, 1, 1, 2 for 1 here. And then, you just got this defensive end unblocked. I don't know if he thought he was going to chase Scadaboo when they didn't have any type of run action. And Dart just puts his shoulder right through. Like, you got to I know that not everyone plays this like with Derwin James and the Chargers, but let's eliminate that against that look. You got man coverage, press man coverage all across the board. Maybe do that. So they hand off the ball and have Jaxson Dart try and run again, and you end up in 4th and goal. And this is where the red zone play calling. This is a 4th down and goal, and Wandale can make this play. We are cutting the field in half, and we're eliminating receiving options on a do-or-die play. I always have been against this. I'm sure there's always hindsight about play calling. I've always been against this on do-or-die plays, limiting your options and cutting the field in half. So this play is essentially designed for one person, being Wandale Robinson here. Right? You're trying to get Theo Johnson to pin this defensive end down. He doesn't do a good job of it. And it allows it to get pause on Wandale and get him off his track. But even then, like the Chargers are ready for this stuff. Right? They've got this corner, they've got this linebacker here. You got this, where are the options for Jaxson Dart? Where's the decision making? It's basically all just make some type of magic happen, and he does do it. But Wandale Robinson isn't able to hold on to. I've changed my opinion on 2 things after watching this angle of it. Is one, Wandale, you need to catch that. I don't care if you're short. You have short arms. You got that in there. Pull that ball in. Tuck it tight. Have strong hands. I want you catching that. And the other one is, I actually agree with Theo not going for this. Theo does not know that this defender is here, number 1. And number 2, look at him when this ball comes out. Right there, angles. They bump into each other. For Theo to go get this would have to be a leaping forward. I kind of agree with him. Just let Wandale get it. Wandale just has to get it. And then Jaxson Dart's last pass of the day. Let's finish it off with a high note. Not a crazy read, but a good read. There's 2 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock. If this ball gets isn't completed, the Chargers get the ball back. And if I know my New York Giants, probably win the damn game. So the Giants run a high-low here with Hyatt and Wandale. We got the high with Hyatt, and then Wandale's got a choice here, right? If he has inside leverage, he's going to break this out. If he's got outside leverage, which he does, he's going to have it in. If these 2 defenders sit where they are, well then, guess what Wandale's going to do? He's going to sit right here, and then you're going to have the tight end come on this sit route right here. You get it versus cover 2. Right? So cover 2, we've got your cloud defender, curl hook, deep half, but they rush 5. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now instead of having a linebacker, this linebacker here in this zone right here, well, now this player has to play for the running back. That's working out into the flat, even though you have this cloud defender here, and that leaves Theo Johnson wide open. Dart does a good job reading it. Wandale sits against this. Just get off of it quickly, pull that trigger, hit Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson, I know it wasn't a fumble, but please hold on to the damn football. We do not need these freaking goofy mistakes. But Dart, again, sees the way they play it, gets to Theo Johnson. Game blouses. New York Giants win. Jaxson Dart 1-0. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, like and subscribe to the channel. We're your spot for New York Giants All 22 film. We'll have a mailbag podcast on Wednesday. We have our recap podcast that come out on Monday. We've got Jordan Renan, a beat reporter who does a show for us. Usually on Monday night. It's going to be on Tuesday this week. So we're your number 1 spot for New York Giants football. So like and subscribe. Until then, let's go Big Blue.